Welcome back to the Free Mouse MC YouTube channel, and we are today here with the Sport-Evolution Enduro on the BMW base. And this is a custom bike, which is really nice. And I made a video about one of their custom bikes some time ago of one of my subscribers. And now they invited me to have a look at this bike. And I'm really curious about it because it really resembles the BMW Rally Dakar bikes. I'm showing them here and you barely can tell them apart. However, this is not just a custom bike in the sense of the way it looks, that you can basically have completely your own design how you want it, but also that the bike basically can handle like you want it. Like the performance is completely customizable, the way that the suspension handles, and we are going to have a look today at this specific example. It's the BMW engine that produces 95 horsepower and 95 Newton meters of torque. And now when I swing a leg over it, the bike looks relatively small for someone like myself when I look at it. However, I gotta say, this is comfortable and nice. I was expecting to really have a lot of angle in the knee, but this is basically how I would want to sit on a motorbike. The way of sitting on the bike is really a bit lean forward. I don't mean lean forward in the sense of like it would be on a different bike, but it's more like older bikes basically used to handle really much focused on the rear, and this has more of a modern body position, which is kind of weird being on a motorbike that feels like from the 1980s and then having this. Yeah, let's see how this handles and get this bike on the road. I consciously left out the music so you can really hear the really nice sound of the 979cc boxer engine of the base bike for this custom bike, the BMW R100 GS. The regular performance of this engine is 60 horsepower and 76 Nm of torque, but Sport-Evolution managed to squeeze 95 horsepower and 95 Nm of torque out of this. How they did that, we will talk about more in a second. Let's first get to the handling. This motorcycle, even though it's an Enduro, handles really well on road, but that's also because it's set up for road use. You can literally feel the front tire finding its traction on the road in the turns. This is very unusual for any kind of custom bike, and especially for a bike like this, an Enduro. And that is because of the very unusual experience that Sport-Evolution has for a company that now makes vintage custom bikes. Because they used to run a race team in the IDM Supersport race series and won multiple times. Also, the owner of Sport-Evolution, Dietmar Franzen, has a background in World Superbike. And that background of course translates into the suspension parts that they are building in-house. Here, for example, we get to see the 175mm fully adjustable rear suspension, two of them because only one goes on the bike because it has a single-sided swing arm. And here we see the 210mm custom-made front suspension with a cartridge system that is also fully adjustable. It's basically the only kind of suspension for a motorcycle like this that is being produced right now. So now here at Sport-Evolution in the engine room where the magic is happening, because a lot of brands claim when they make a custom bike that they rebuild the complete engine. However, here that's actually the case. There are basically the only thing left of the engine is the aluminum around it, and everything inside, all the bearings, all the timing chains, all that kind of stuff is getting renewed, and also some things are getting improved from how the engine was from factory to a modern standard, and also you can have increased power however you like, basically, with a maximum output of 95 horsepower for the bikes that are not race bikes. And those are also actual 95 horsepower measured on a proper device for measuring the amount of power that the engine can produce. And it's actually really impressive, and it's cool to see that the bike you get is actually a new bike. Overhauling the engine also means replacing outdated technology like here, the valve guide and valve stem seal. An attention-paying viewer has maybe realized that the camshaft that was shown earlier and these cylinders and valves don't belong to a motorcycle but to a Porsche Carrera 911. Honestly, the thought of driving a Porsche with that engine overhaul sounds pretty sweet too. This custom bike based on the BMW GS has all the looks of an off-road machine, reminding everyone of the bikes of the Rally Dakar. However, how much of it can it actually deliver? With the increased power and especially the increased torque that is very down low in the rev range, the bike basically does instant wheel spin when you twist the throttle. That sometimes can be difficult to handle, and on top of that, this specific motorcycle is set up for road use, and with Sport-Evolution's experience and background being mostly in that area, I'm not 100% sure if they can deliver the perfect suspension that they can on-road, also off-road. However, on the gravel road, this custom bike gives you quite nice feedback because at heart it is still an old motorcycle. Because yes, it's renewed so that it's basically like a brand new bike, but they're not going the step of making it actually a brand new bike because then it would need a lot more things to be road legal. And in this way you have a lot lighter of a motorcycle and also a lot simpler of a motorcycle where you feel every bit of gravel road and exactly know what's going on underneath you. So we now spent the day behind the scenes at Sport-Evolution and with the Sport-Evolution Enduro based on the BMW motorbikes, and it's a really, really gorgeous motorbike. And basically now we have it here looking for a custom bike, basically like the BMWs from back in the day, but you can also have this in different colorways, orange, whatever you like. And I really like that approach, that you basically can have the bike however you want, and also that then the rideability is a part of the custom experience, and that the motorcycles are focused on actually being ridden, and that a lot of custom bikes feel really unnice to ride. Like genuinely, custom bikes are usually made to look at. So having a custom bike that's made to not just look at but also ride is really, really nice. And also with the components that are adjustable, like the suspension, and that you can have the bike set up the way you like. And also with the motorsport background that Sport-Evolution has, the bike really feels handling focused. Like, yes, it's an Enduro, but this is one of the best handling Enduros on the road that I've ridden so far. And also the way that you sit on the bike is comfortable and fitting for an Enduro, but still you really feel this approach from motorsport and from motorsport road racing. You really feel that. You also feel that a lot more than on the Roadster bike from them that I reviewed before on the channel. I didn't notice it that much on that one, but here when swinging a leg over it, it instantly was obvious. So all in all, I have to say it's pretty cool. And also that you can build the bike yourself, that you can be like, okay, I want the engine basically as good as new. I want everything redone on it so that I basically have a bike that's factory new, and I just build it together in my own garage. That's really nice, and if you look at it, I think that's also something that is definitely doable for the average person. And all in all, really nice bike, also with this nice little single dash that of course looks really nice from a rideability perspective. Maybe a bit more info and it being a bit bigger and a bit more visible would be nice, but from the custom bike perspective, that is genuinely really good. However, when being interested in one of these motorcycles, even though it's basically like a brand new bike, you still have to be aware of the fact that it's a custom bike. It's completely made in one workshop in Europe. It can have its small quirks when it comes to things like electrics and the blinkers. On the other bike that I rode from them, for example, something was wrong with the blinkers. However, that comes at the benefit of you having a personal craftsmanship experience, which in my opinion is worth a lot. That is a lot nicer than a bunch of robots printing a bunch of perfect parts for you. If you liked this video, definitely like and subscribe and leave your opinion on this motorcycle in the comments. I genuinely really enjoyed it, and see you in the next video.
you.